difficulties or technical difficulties.
I don't know what happened in that.
I'm good with my pay-per-view.
It says it's running, so.
Okay. Welcome to the public hearing of Chair Busco Smith Green Community Schools of Monday, October 6, 2025 at 6:31.
Would please rise and say the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I gotta figure out the best way to read this, but the mission statement of Smith Green Community Schools. By focusing on excellence in education and providing opportunities for all students to succeed, we strive to be the best small school in Indiana. Please join me in a moment of meditation. Thank you.
Hey, Susan.
All right.
You got the floor.
In front of you is your budget finder. And if you open up the very first page is the advertised rate of 1.1197. We are estimating that that should fall roughly about 0.9746. As you can see, it shows your debt service, the advertised and what we're estimating, the operations, and the referendum. The next page is our school bus replacement plan. We are looking at a new 78 passenger bus in 26, one special ed bus in 27, and then 2 passenger buses in 28, 2 smaller buses, 14 passengers in 29, and then a large bus in 2030. Now those are subject to change if and when we need anything. The next page is our capital project plan, and we are planning to continue with the elementary and junior senior high school classroom furnitures. We will look at the discus cage and fencing for the track area. We do have asphalt empty lot for parking. That's kind of in the wish list, and we're just kind of keeping it out there. Baseball scoreboard, football track scoreboard, do some curving of the parking lot. We've got the high school gym floor, the elementary gym floor, and the stage refinishing and repairs, which is pretty much an ongoing, the same as the bleacher backstops, batting cages, the inspections and services, elementary classroom carpet, and junior senior classroom carpet, and central office flooring. Any questions? Okay. The next I've got tabbed out for our referendum, our rainy day, our debt service, our education, our operations, and then our Form 3 is what shows what we advertised to the taxpayers. And you have your budget estimates listed first, and that just shows you a breakdown of our July to December balances, where we're at. Then it shows our revenues and expenses that we are projecting for the 2026 budget. The next page shows the miscellaneous revenue as to where we expect to get the revenues for those funds. It's broken down as the license excise tax, the CVET, and the FIT, which in 2027 the FIT will go away. The next is budget form 1, and that's our estimate on how we plan to spend those dollars for those appropriations. And then the last page in each tab item is our current year financial worksheet. And that just shows our current year approved budget and our disbursements, any levies, any transfers, any temporary loans, our June 30th cash balances, and taxes to be collected for the present year in December. And that's a rough estimate as well. I think our book's been set up this way for the past 5 years, 6 years, so it's pretty cut and dry, I would say. With the Senate Enrolled Act, we still have, some questions, some issues, as with all the other school corporations, as to where we hope to be versus where we might be. But I think we're looking very financially stable at this point. And we haven't got taxes in yet for Noble. They've not put them on their own, no, still not. So as soon as we get those, I think maybe I might be able to feel a little more comfortable and confident with everything. But as far as what goes here is all the numbers that I've pulled together for everything.
What did it lead to? Like from last year, this year?
As far as yes, 6. Mm-hmm.
Is there a deadline and Noble has to post?
Was supposed first, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think it's been a pretty consistent situation. I think about it every year.
Yeah, and I think they were having some data issues with their computers and different things, I think, as well. I didn't hear that anyway.
I just wanted to remind you, our education fund is based on our ADM renewal.
Yes, sir. And debt service is moving in and out for bonds and college loans.
What's the total budget?
The amount or the tax rate?
The budget estimate is $17,066,528. Yes, I'm sorry, 43. Thanks, Marcia. Yeah, there's 2 forms. It's your first column there, or your
Yeah.
second column. It breaks it down.
What was our budget for this year? Actual?
You were gonna ask me that. Hang on 1 second, I usually have that in my folder as well. And
It's up to 14 something.
It's 14 something.
Yeah.
the budget, total budget,
Yeah.
I think it was, I'm sorry, I should have had that card. I'll look that up here in a second. Let me get it for you.
That's all right. It's, I don't have to have it today. Can't change anything. Not asking for anything. So.
We'll look up it in here. I apologize for the delay. $16,069,448. Can you say that again? $16,069,448.
That was the actual
Yes.
2025. The plan.
Mhm.
Actual plan.
Yes.
Any questions? This time.
Not for me.
Yeah. Okay.
Please hold it.
Thank you.
Thanks for that. Anytime.
And since we didn't have anybody signed in to speak, we will skip the public comment section.
No other business?
With that, we will adjourn the public hearing of Smith Green Community Schools Monday, October 6, 2025 at 6:42. Okay. Welcome to the Smith Green Community Schools special meeting of Monday, October 6, 2025 at 6:43. We don't have any public comments, so we will move on to new business.
Okay, Susan, you want to introduce our guests? You ready for the GO bond presentation?
Yeah, this is Megan from Baker Tilling, and she is here to discuss some preliminary financing on our GO bond.
There's somewhere specific you want us to know.
Whatever you feel
Well,
comfortable.
yeah, however you feel comfortable, Megan, we're
You
fine.
don't even have to stand if you don't.
No, you're feeling good if you like.
Yeah.
It's just us, so.
Like Susan said, I'm Megan from Baker Tilly. We serve as the school corporation's municipal advisor and just wanted to present some information for the general obligation bond you're considering for approval. We also worked on the bonds you issued at the end of last year. I think either Brock Bauscher or Tyler Levelholtz from our office may have come and presented to you then. I did work with them in the background on that bond issue, and we all really appreciate the opportunity to work with you guys again. So if we want to go ahead and go to the presentation, I think I passed around a copy to everyone. On slide 2, we have the current outstanding debt for the school corporation. So this shows all your outstanding bonds and common school fund loans with the total annual payments due each year. And then if you want to go ahead and look at slide 3 as well. So on that slide, you can see it's the same information just in a graph. So if you're a little more visual, it's a little easier to read. So annual payments due in 2025 are right around $1.5 million. And then you do have some step downs and payments coming up in 2026 and then 29 and 2030. So when considering issuing a bond issue this fall in 25, the payments would begin when you have that step down coming up in 26. And then on slide 4, we're just showing the general obligation debt limit for the school corporation. So the bonds you're considering would be general obligation bonds, and each unit in the state has a certain amount of debt that it can take out in its name, and this just represents that calculation for the school. So it's 2% of 1/3 of your net assessed value. So based on that, we're getting a debt limit of over $3.7 million, and then from that, we have to subtract the remaining principal of any outstanding general obligation debt you have, which for you would just be those bonds issued last fall. So there's $855,000 remaining on those, so that gets you to your capacity, which is right around $2.9 million. So the proposed bond issue we're discussing this evening would be for $995,000, so that fits well within that capacity. So your first mortgage bonds you have outstanding were issued through a building corporation. Those don't count towards this limit. And then your common school fund loans actually don't count either. And then slide 5, that just has a summary of some of the financial information for these proposed bonds. So after taking into account some allowances for cost of issuance, we're currently estimating about $870,000 of project proceeds would be available. The current structure we have, which you can also see on the next slide, we have these structured to repay just over 5 years. The resolutions do allow for a max repayment term of 7 years, so we can make some adjustments to this if you wanted us to before we price the bonds. And then we're estimating the interest costs at around $94,000. So that is based on rates provided to us last week by the Indiana Bond Bank plus 1%. So there is some cushion built into that number based on where we are today. And then based on what the DLGF is showing right now for your 2026 assessed value, we're not projecting an increase to your debt service rate in 26. And then if you want to go ahead and go to slide 6, this just shows kind of the proposed structure of these bonds in yellow, layered in with your existing debt in green. We are showing payments in 2026 increasing some. That's because the DLGF right now is showing your assessed value for 2026 is up. So to maintain that 2025 debt service tax rate in 26, we would need to increase your levy a little bit. And then we kept payments at that same level in 27, and then we tried to build in some annual step downs really from 2028 to 2031 just to give you future flexibility. So that's kind of the presentation. Are there any questions?
With the potential tax structure changes coming down, how will that impact any of this?
So we should know, we're basing this structure on what we know today for your 2026 assessed value on the
Yep.
DLGF. So
Was that
that,
one about like 27?
so 27, if your assessed value would drop, you do, since we are keeping payments at that same level, you would run the risk if your AV drops that your debt service tax rate could come up a little bit.
Mm-hmm. That's all I had. With the resolution, we don't have to approve payment structure with this today, correct?
Correct. We're just, yeah, you don't officially approve any bond, please correct me if I'm wrong, we wouldn't be asking you to approve any official bond until the next board meeting, if the board chooses to go forward.
We put our bridge block in.
So right now, we are anticipating going to the bond bank with these at their November meeting. I wrote down when it was. It's in mid-November. So at that time, we would need to send the bond bank basically a final amortization schedule. And that afternoon or that next morning. So that's kind of when you're locked in to that repayment schedule. So if you want us to make any changes to this before you have a meeting to look at the final bond resolution, we can of course do that. And then if you think about it and want us to make any changes even after that meeting, as long as it's before we go to that bond bank meeting in November, we can even tweak it again before that meeting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And just to let you know too, there are several outstanding construction capital projects that this money can be used on. One, for example, is HVAC and dirt. One of both of the gyms high gym. I did get an estimate on those, and unfortunately, to current rate, just one of those gyms would take care of all this bond. Yeah, unfortunately. The junior high gym came back, the estimate came back at $945,000, and the elementary gym came back at $811,000.
What was the first one?
$945,000.
For which gym?
For the junior high.
Okay.
And that would give them, heating and cooling.
Heating and be air conditioning. Heating and
But the elementary is the one that really needs it.
that's
So you've been out for years. Even before I was there.
So that's just one of many projects that we could at least address with the gyms. But there are several other things that we can spend that money on as well that need to add that to school.
Right. If I'm seeing this right, we've got a bond gonna finish up next year.
2020.
Free up some money and then 2 and 28. Free up about 800,000. I'm not just guessing, probably more than that. By 28.
Yeah.
Your thought would be that if we're in a financial position to do so, and if the board would like, we could take out the bond to redo locker rooms at that particular time.
And when?
20, we issue those bonds in 2027 for construction in 2020.
So we tried to build you in, even with how we have these structured down, some future step downs, so you can kind of make decisions year to year on what you want to do.
It gives you options.
Because this one would take effect in 26 and construction 27.
If, again, just as all hypothetical, if the board were to take out a bond yet this year, we would look at doing, again, if the board wanted to, HVAC this summer.
Okay.
So either one of those gyms would basically get this whole lot.
Right. Right. I know it's one of those things that I don't disagree with the, not to talk about it now, but you brought up the elementary gym. The only thing from a perspective side that I have is that we utilize the junior high gym for evening activities, like competitions. So we have visitors in there in August or in September when it's really warm. It's miserable in there for those competitions.
Isn't archery in the elementary gym? That's too.
Yeah, I mean, we've looked at this for years. So I'm very still think this is probably the priority and we can do it. Make it happen, we put it off. Or something else has happened. Yeah, where we've had to.
Right, right. Okay, any other questions or concerns on the bond resolution?
Yeah.
No.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Appreciate it. Okay, well with that then, we just need a motion.
I motion to approve the preliminary bond resolution for the 2025 GL bond.
I'll second it.
All those in favor? What's the next one?
Just approval for the declaration of the official intent to reimburse expenditures.
Yeah. So same thing, we just need a motion there.
I'll make a motion
Doing
to
that.
approve the language he stated.
I think we need to say it.
2, 3. 2, 3.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. No, right there. That's one, right? Yeah, this one.
Okay. I make a motion, we approve the declaration of official intent to reimburse expenditures resolution, Exhibit B for the 2025 bill bond.
Excellent.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Again, obviously there's, it's just preliminary stuff. He wants us to continue talking. The plan is to bring back then at the end of this month, is that right?
Yeah, I think your last October meeting was done.
Yeah.
I still will send you a final bond resolution for approval then. And then if you approve that, we would move forward with submitting, the bond bank application at the end of October for the November bond bank meeting.
I may ask for some other projections, Susan, but, for repayment side of things, or as we talk about potential impacts, with other, so. Okay. Any other business?
No, sir.
We don't have any public, so with that, we will close the special meeting of Smith Green Community Schools on Monday, October 6th, 2025 at 6:57.
Yeah. Hey, thank you very much, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Now,
Megan.
will you be coming back